On this episode of the Fieldhouse Files, an update with the latest on the Indiana Fever. Then, guard Lexie Hull joins to discuss her offseason and playing in the inaugural season with Unrivaled.
I know that Fieldhouse Files has a prolific following. I just want to be careful about sharing too much with the world.
And welcome back into the Fieldhouse Files, the podcast where I take you behind the scenes with the Pacers and Fever, talk to individuals on and around the team, and tell you what you need to know. A lot continues to go on with this Indiana Fever team after a brief shortage of news, after it felt like about an avalanche of 10 straight days with some kind of Fever news, with signings, with waivings, with buyouts. It is quieted down here, certainly over the last week or so, but we still have several new news items here to discuss. First of all, Christy Wallace. She will not be back with this Indiana Fever team this upcoming season. The team releasing a note earlier this week that Wallace has elected not to play this upcoming season, dealing with a personal issue, so she will not be back. So we obviously send good thoughts to her family, and wish her well with this decision, which could not have come very easily. Now, for the Fever, what does it mean? It means they have an open roster spot. Now, it means they have more cap space to utilize. And it also means in a offseason that has been full of changes, a new front office, a new coaching staff, new staff members. You now have a roster that will have more newcomers than returning players, because it was 6-6. Well, with Christy Wallace not returning, you have 6 newcomers and probably soon to be 7, as I would expect them to use that roster spot. How it will shake out, that remains to be seen. But they do have one available roster spot and some roster flexibility with cap space because of this decision. On Thursday, some positive news that was not surprising, and that was that the Fever's special preseason game coming up in early May the 4th, there at Iowa City. A homecoming game for Caitlin Clark. Tickets went on sale Thursday morning, and they sold out. More than 15,000 tickets sold out in less than 45 minutes. No surprise there. This is a third-party company that is handling the event and the production and all of that, but University of Iowa and athletics and season ticket holders there are getting those tickets. Now, I'm told there are a small reserve for some Fever fans, Fever season ticket holders, and sponsors in particular, but this is primarily for her Hawkeye audience, for Caitlin Clark's fans back home in Des Moines as well, and so that should be a special preseason game against the Brazilian national team there in early March. Other news that came out this week, no surprise either, and that's that the Washington Mystics are moving their 2 home games against the Indiana Fever and Caitlin to a larger venue. It will not be played at their entertainment complex with about 4,200 seats. That's not enough. There's too much demand for Caitlin and for this Fever team. So much like last season, it'll be played somewhere else. This one's a little bit different, though. It was last year where they set a attendance record in the WNBA. More than 20,000 fans came out to see the Fever in those 2 games. It won't be that large, but it is moving to a larger venue in a different area. The game will be played in Baltimore at an arena there, about 14,000 seats. That's a significant upgrade than the 4,200 seats that the Mystics ordinarily play home games. Although I do find it a little bit ironic, because you did have Mystics ownership come out and want more support for the league and less attention on Caitlin, despite the fact we all know it's Caitlin. Caitlin's driving these numbers. Caitlin's driving you to move this game. What are we doing here? Anyways, that interview was months ago, but I thought it should be noted because it was silly then, and it still is silly now, months later, because we all know the Caitlin Clark effect is very real. That's why the preseason game was sold out. That's why all those national TV games. That's why you see a local TV audience here with the Indiana Fever. And by the way, fans are asking, why not Capital One Arena again? They are undergoing significant renovations, almost $300 million of arena renovations in addition to the district area right there. And so that is not available all summer. They're starting the upgrades to the inside of the arena, the event level, and where the games take place right after the Washington Wizards season ends there in April coming up. They've been working already, and they expect those to be done for the 2027-2028 NBA season, but that makes that Capital One Arena not available for the WNBA, for concerts or anything during the summer. Now, earlier this week, I talked with Lexie Hull already out at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as IMS invited her out to be the celebrity to do the annual raising of the flag, the IndyCar flag, to mark the start of a new racing season that begins coming up this weekend down at St. Pete. Much nicer than it is here, although we have gotten some good weather days. But Lexie Hull was out there, had some nice new Fever gear she was wearing, met with president of IMS and now the IndyCar and Doug Bowles, and then raised the flag. It was a fantastic afternoon and ceremony for Lexie. I wrote about that at fieldhousefiles.com and posted a video of it as well on my YouTube channel. But I've also got a chance to catch up with Lexie here over Zoom. We talked after a recent practice on Thursday, and they have about a couple weeks left in the regular season for Unrivaled. Now, it's very hard to make any grand conclusions about how it was successful, the audience, how many people it reached, can you keep this going, all those things. I think you got to give it in time. You have to invest in it, which they certainly have. They got to try new things, and then they have to adjust because certain things are not going to make sense. Certain things are not going to be liked by players or by the audience. So I think it's important with anything new. I talk about new radio shows or new television shows. You got to give them time. And so one of the things we are seeing, though, is this new league is giving basketball fans, and especially women's basketball fans and WNBA fans, another option. And for players, they've seemingly by all accounts being treated well and enjoying their time down there. They're getting paid well, all six figures, though we don't know how much, but they're all up in the six-figure range, plus incentives. There was a one-on-one tournament where, there's a winner and those sorts of things. And then, obviously, the postseason coming up. These players got down there January 5th. Games started a couple weeks later. They played a couple preseason games to kind of get the feel of this 3-on-3 basketball. The difference, as I talked with Lexie Hull about, is it's a full court, but a shorter full court. So conditioning is imperative to get through this, and on top of that, a lot different strategy that goes into things. And Lexie's playing on Team Rose. They've won 5 in a row. They handed a loss to what has been the best team to this point, led by Nafisa Collier, one of the co-founders, along with Brianna Stewart. And so it was good to catch up with Lexie Hull further than we had earlier in the week at IMS. We were able to talk about Unrivaled, talk about her offseason. I think it's impressive, the number of endorsement deals that I've seen she do over this offseason. It's been really impressive. And it speaks to the growth of the WNBA, Unrivaled, and women's basketball as a whole. She has deals now with Meet Mave, Sequel, Athleta, I think is how you say it, Blackstone, and Academy. Those are just the ones I could notice over on her Instagram where she's been active and posting that. She also bought a house here in Indianapolis, so congratulations to her with that move in this offseason. We saw her in the first month of the season hang out and spend some time with Caitlin Clark as well. They went to that new drink store and try out those different shakes and such, and had fun before going down to Miami, where it'd be great to spend an off season for a new season before they come back to Indianapolis and really gear up for the WNBA season and training camp there in late April. All right, now let's get into my interview with Lexie Hull, the Indiana Fever guard, who's going into her 4th year with the Indiana Fever. I hope you enjoy this conversation, and for a lot more Fever coverage, you can join me at fieldhousefiles.com. All right, now joining me on the show is Lexie Hull, who's down in Miami, part of the Unrivaled. So let's start there, because that's been an adventurous last couple of months, just because it's new. It's different. You're not a player that typically goes overseas, so what has the last couple of months been like with this new league?
It's been awesome. I think, all of us coming to Miami, we didn't know exactly what to expect, but we were being told it's going to be the best player experience you could ask for. And they've upheld that end of the bargain for sure. It's been great to get to play a new style of basketball in 3-on-3. So it's been really fun so far.
What has campus been like, and also upholding, the best experience? In what ways can you kind of describe certain things that have really stood out to you over the last 8 weeks?
Yeah, so they built this facility that I'm in right now. It's our practice. It's also where we play. It's where we recover. It's where we get facials, they have with where we lift. I mean, everything that we could need in terms of recovery and being the best basketball player we could be is here in this facility, and they built that out from the ground. So we're really grateful for that, and that it's all in one place. It makes it super easy. And then, I mean, they also, really great apartments, really just we have food after practice, before games. They've really thought of everything. So it's been, there's nothing I can think of that we're really missing here.
It's also hard to beat Miami and being nearby a beach, right?
For sure.
Yeah, be able to hang out there. How about the basketball? How is that compared to maybe what your expectations or thoughts of going in? Because you obviously have experience with 3-on-3, but it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, with it being full court, it's a shortened full court, but it's still full court. So I hadn't played that style of 3-on-3 yet. And I think at the first week of preseason here, we're all just kind of learning like what it would be like, what's going to work, what kind of offenses are going to work. Defensively, it's so challenging because there's so much space on the floor. So you're really forced to guard your yard and make sure that you're locked in one-on-one every possession. But I think basketball-wise, the best basketball players in the world are here. So it's great to get to compete against them every single day, and then also have 5 others on your team that I haven't had the chance to play with before, but been really grateful to learn and go through this process with them.
I think I read where you guys played at least a couple practice or preseason games. How important was that just to have a feel for the new setup?
It was huge. I think it was huge for one, to kind of learn the game, understand, what to expect from this new style, but also number 2, take the dust off of us.
Sure.
Because all of us spent a few months, not playing competitively. So it's great to kind of just work out those kinks in those first couple weeks.
Yeah, it feels like because of the court setup, conditioning is even more important than ever. You guys are on a roll right now. We saw, I think it was last week, getting the big win over the Lunar Owls, who had been the dominant team thus far with Nafisa Collier. What do you feel like's clicking for your team right now with Team Rose?
I think we're just really gelling together. I think at the start, we don't really know each other. We don't really understand what each of us can bring. And I think we're figuring that out. We're understanding what works, what doesn't, what's the best shot for us, what defenses work the best for us as individual players, because everyone's a little bit different. And we didn't, I think, necessarily know that in those first couple weeks of games. So now we're understanding each other. We're getting into a role. Confidence is building. We're confident in each other. I think that's where it all stems from.
One of the key players on your team is Chelsea Gray, and I can't help but think of the similarities. How did playing with Caitlin help prepare you for the passes that you often receive from Chelsea as well?
It's just keeping my hands ready. Keep setting, keep running the floor. I think that's what's so great about playing with really great point guards is you do the hard work and they make the shots easy. So it's really great just trying to get open, get to the best positions I can, and I have confidence that they're going to find me, and they have confidence that I'll be in the right spot. So it's really great to kind of keep bouncing off of both of them.
I was looking back at your Instagram where you've been active, especially with the brand deals, and it feels like right now you're kind of on a ride of a lifetime. Does it feel that way for yourself, both with your play on the court with the Fever, with Unrivaled, and the outside opportunities that have come from it? Just this week, you came back for the IndyCar, and being the honorary celebrity to raise the flag to start IndyCar season is one of the many things as well.
Yeah, it's been really fun. And I don't think, looking back at the start of my career that I'd be playing in a league with Olympians and some of the best in the world. So I'm just really grateful for the opportunity. And along with that comes, things that I also wouldn't have expected. So I've been really busy on and off the court, and those are all really good things.
I haven't got a chance to ask you about your own company that you're starting or in the works of starting, I think. I think it's called Forta. Can you describe kind of what's gone into this and what you hope it achieves in the next few years?
Yeah, so my roommate from Stanford, Sarah Goller, and I started this company, and it's a makeup brand built for the active consumer. So built for people like me who play, built for people like her who are businesswomen. So it's been really fun to have something that I'm really passionate outside of the court. It's a long process. Building a company from the ground is a lot harder and a lot longer of a process than I expected, but really excited and hopefully can create products for everyone, products that work and products that I'm really proud of, promoting. So we're early stages still, formulating all of our products, but really excited about it. So
that's where you're putting that Stanford degree to work, right?
Exactly. I got to use it somehow.
Exactly. In addition to having all this on-court success, I guess. A couple favorite things I'd absolutely have to cover is just what has it been like from afar seeing the overhaul that has taken place, and what have maybe been some of your first impressions of Stephanie White, player development coach Keith Porter, who I know were both down there a couple weeks ago?
I mean, I'm really, really excited. I think, like coming off of a good season where we made the playoffs, and now we're heading into a new season where I feel like we just have some really great additions all around, and we're putting people around that I can learn from. So I'm really excited about that opportunity, but also people that know what it takes to win. So I'm just really looking forward to this next year. I've had the chance to be in the gym with Steph and Keith, so they just know the game. They're passionate about the game. They're passionate about getting us better individually and then collectively as a team. So I just think we're going to be, take that next big jump, which I'm really excited about.
Has anything ever gotten are you numb to kind of the things we constantly see now? For example, today, Washington Mystics moving a game to a much larger arena. Your preseason game at Iowa, tickets sold out in 45 minutes. Like, this is a huge movement, but have you become kind of numb to it because of so many exciting things that are happening with your team?
I mean, it's awesome that we hear about it every time, but I think we've come to kind of expect it. Okay. And I think that's great. I mean, the growth of the sport, it just shows that people are willing to watch and people are excited about watching and coming to see us play in person. And for us, that's all we could ever ask for, is playing in sold out arenas and playing in bigger venues. So I'm just really grateful about the growth and excited about this coming year for it.
Couple weeks, you have the playoffs here with Unrivaled. What's kind of the focus on campus over the next couple of weeks as you gear up, as you guys are one of the leading teams that's poised to probably make a big move coming up here?
Really, for us, it's about not being complacent. I think, I mean, we haven't clinched playoffs yet. We're on a high with the win streak, but making sure that we don't sit there and let other teams catch up and let other teams pass us. We just want to continue to get better every single day, continue to go out. I mean, the most important game is the game right in front of us. So we're going to look at every game and every team like it's the championship. So we're really focused. We're really excited about continuing to play and really excited about the playoffs coming up.
Very good, Lexi. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
All right, that wraps up another episode of the Fieldhouse Files podcast. Again, my thanks to Lexie Hull for joining me one day this week as we were able to catch up on her offseason and how things have gone there down in Miami. For a lot more on Lexi, the Fever, and the Pacers as well, join me at fieldhousefiles.com and on my YouTube page. Make sure you're subscribed so you do not miss any video. Otherwise, I will talk to you again very soon.